Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. We're going to talk about when the narcissist gets caught. They react a little bit different than you would kind of hope them to do. They will often blame shift. They'll kind of switch things around to distract us, where they put it on us. So if we accuse them of cheating, instead of saying they did or give us a lie, sometimes they'll switch it back like, oh, I bet you're the one that's cheating. So they're not answering our questions. They're confusing us. They're distracting us, taking anything away from the actual question at hand. They'll also sometimes try to prove, no matter how much evidence that we have against them, whether it's screenshots or pictures or a phone call from somebody or evidence from a hotel or private investigator, the narcissist will stick to their story. They give us excuses that often don't really hold much water. No matter how full of holes their story is, they will still stick to it. I know my ex, he was going through a divorce, and he was proving that he was going through a divorce, but there was no docket number on the paperwork. So I'm like, you didn't even file. There has to be a docket number. I've been to law school, degrees in criminal justice. I've been through 4 custody battles, and they just think that we're stupid. They go to great lengths to prove their lie. He had also promised, like, he was buying a house, moving out, things like that. Gave me inside pictures of a house, which I don't know if he purposely went into a house just to take pictures. Had an email from somebody, and I had tried to do a little investigation. I'm like, are you guys renting or selling your house, whatever it was? And they had already rented it, but so I didn't delve into it further, but I think it was probably a BS that even tried to get that house. He also gave me another house. So I wanted to drive by just out of curiosity, and I drove up, and there was no house at that address. It was just, fake. So they try to prove things, but it's empty. I had other incidences where, you know, they get caught in things, but no matter what you say, with all the hardcore evidence that you have against it, they'll still lie. They'll give us word salad where they're all jumbled up, their minds trying to process what the lie is, and it often doesn't make sense. They can sometimes go a little bit silent because their mind is trying to process what to say. And they're grasping at straws instead of being held accountable. Usually, you can work through things better if, somebody takes accountability or feels sorry for what they did. But when they're trying to prove the lie, they just have total disrespect for you. You're just trying to find out. Sometimes you're angry. They don't care that you're angry. They don't care what you're feeling, and you're reacting. Remember, this is like reactive abuse, because you're feeling a certain way because they've betrayed you, went against any boundaries you might have had. They'll often, like I said, turn it around on you, where you're supposed to somehow be the point of distraction, or to make you feel. It's kind of like cutting you down. If you wouldn't have done that thing, they're putting the like a poor personality trait onto you, which isn't fair if you wouldn't have done it. And it's just meant to distract, to confuse us, to keep us off balance. It doesn't give us anything settled in our heart. It makes it more unsettled, and sometimes we wonder, like, why do we keep wanting to go back to these people? There are times that they're exciting, and they do seem kind. They do certain things that seem kind, but they have ulterior motives. They're doing things behind your back. They'll do whatever they feel that they can get away with. If they're scared they can't get away with it, they might not do it, but their mind still wants to. So as soon as that opportunity presents itself, they will go after whatever their heart desires, without thinking about the other person. I just watched this video of a girl doing a TikTok. Her friend was dying in the hospital. You can see the friend, on her last few moments, and this girl has to, do a TikTok video. She instead of like I don't know, talking to the person, even though they had tubes all over. It was a bad situation, but maybe saying some kind words, or saying a prayer or whatever they would do. She's picking out songs to add to the TikTok. She's all like, she was really pretty. She's all like looking in the camera, and then she's like, and it was like almost like acting. Her friend's about to die. Her friend is about to die. And she was so self-centered that it had to be about her. Most of the video too, you could see the friend off in the background, but a lot of it was about her. As her friend is literally dying, that she wanted to get the views. She wanted the fame from her friend dying. She didn't look really all that upset. And that's the thing with narcissists too, though, is they don't uh, process things the same way that we do. A lot of times with deaths, sometimes they do feel loss of a supply. Um, they don't cry as much as other people, because they don't relate to it. It's somebody else dying. So they think about what they're going to lose. They'll react to that stimuli on what they're going to lose, but they don't react to the loss of a person. And that's where it like really hurts your heart, is if you're in a relationship with them. You think that they would care more about you as opposed to the loss of, the now time away is from cleaning the house or paying the bills, or in a healthy relationship, you pick up the pieces when the other person can't. You're there for the person, you're supporting them. But narcissists, the way that they try to get out of taking accountability is to the extreme. There's times, you might lie, you might try to get out of it, but when there's hardcore evidence, the length of stuff that they do to get out of it. I just watched another video too. It was a guy with a sexual predator over a 14-year-old girl, and the guy's uncle had caught him. Instead of the girl meeting up, the uncle had the phone, and it had the screenshots of everything that was on it. And he's even like, I didn't know she was 14. And he's like saying this before he was even accused of it, because they had that guilty conscience. And he's thinking that saying that is going to make it reinforce that he didn't know that, but he just kind of proved he knew that. And he just started running away. He was not taking accountability. He was adamant that he had no clue. And the way he was so nervous, you could tell he knew exactly what he was doing. And he was turning himself into the victim, where, don't hurt me. And the guy was very calm, but he wouldn't stop and talk to the uncle. He kept saying he didn't know. It was all about him. It wasn't, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. It was, don't hurt me. Don't call the cops. I just want to go home. It was him. And narcissists will do that, where it's all about them. They don't focus on, what the uncle's feeling. I'm sorry. Or focusing, on the girl, like, you're right, I shouldn't have done that. I'll leave her alone. It's all about them. And they don't take accountability. They use that word salad. They'll confuse you. They'll give, false proof adamantly. And they might future fake, like, I promise it's not going to happen in the future, knowing wholeheartedly that they're still going to do whatever they can get away with. They're just going to think of trickier ways to get around, so they can still focus on what they want. They're not going to look back that they hurt us. They'll look at, how do I get away with it this time? I don't want to get caught again. They don't want to change their ways. And if they do for a little while, they're still going to go back to it. They don't like boundaries. They don't like feeling bound into anything. And once they start feeling that, it's almost like a challenge that goes inside them, where they're like, I'm breaking free from these binds that they act out at those times. And it's cyclical. Sometimes they can handle things a little bit better. Any little stressor or trigger can cause them to just throw everything away. They'll quit jobs easily if they get bored, or they feel somebody is too powerful over them. They don't like anybody who doesn't see them as um the greatest. And then there are times, like, sometimes they will act out like they're the worst of the worst, the pity party. They'll be inappropriate, so they're either you know like the best criminal, the best. It doesn't have to be always a good aspect. They'll be the best jerk, um, but it's the best, which is really odd, because who wants to be the best jerk? But it'll be a power play. You'll notice them to where you know uh, they if they can't achieve the best of the good, they'll have to achieve the best of something. So they'll go the best of the worst. And it's just such a toxic cycle that they are killing who we are inside, because they can't just apologize. Sometimes, apologies don't take away all the pain, but it's at least kind-hearted to where they acknowledge that they hurt us. Um, and if you can do that, it shows that there's a possibility to change. But if you can't acknowledge what you did wrong, if you have no remorse, um, a lot of times that's where the recidivism comes in, where they're just going to repeat what they're doing, because they're not going to change if they don't. It's almost like they have to have that why do I have to change? We tell them it hurts us, but they don't relate to it. So it's like, what? They hear our words, but they don't understand it. So if they don't understand it, they're not going to make the change. Sometimes if they have like a life altering event to where complete devastation, they might be told, or kind of look back on why they lost everything in their life. They can think about changing, but they're still going to fall back into their old ways. So with the new supply, that new supply is going to go through the same crap you went through. The timing just depends on how much the narcissist gets away with, the perception from the new supply, if they're going to see through all the crap, or if they're going to believe it. A lot of us, it takes us a while. It takes us a while for things to come, start making sense. But if you're on this channel or other YouTube channels trying to seek answers, the chances of you being a victim of narcissistic abuse is pretty high. If you are trying to figure out if you are a narcissist, are the things matching up? You have to have 5 out of 9 traits, which I have videos on that. But sometimes too, if you're an empathetic person, you start feeling, am I the narcissist? Because we start reacting, we start having to survive as well. The narcissist does a lot of this crap to us because of the brain damage, because it's a way for them to survive. But we start feeling that we need to survive. So we pick up some of their traits. So be really cautious, because it is shrinking our brain. It is changing our actual brain matter, that you don't want to be molded into, somebody who you're not. So the narcissists, when they were children, went through some traumatic event that stunted their emotional growth forever. And like I keep saying, they have actual brain damage where that part is missing or thinning, and you can't just get that back. So hold on to who you are, be aware of the traits that you're picking up. When you're around people, it's easy to pick up good or bad habits. That's why if you're around smokers or if you're around drug addicts, not everybody falls into that trap, but you're more likely to when you're around those kind of people. It's available. It might be tempting. It might be social, whatever the reason is. The people you're around, you can pick up traits and just speech patterns, or sometimes the way you laugh might change just because you're used to being around somebody else and you kind of mirror each other. So take a look in the mirror and really see who the real you is, and do some soul searching. How much you want to stay in toxic relationships like this. Let yourself heal. Go no contact. Don't buy the bullshit that they give us. Take a stand against it. Be adamant. And it's hard sometimes too, because sometimes, sometimes they're lies. We want to understand. We want to kind of minimize our pain. So we kind of are kind of hoping that their lie is the truth. We kind of hope. Let's say it's a cheating thing. We kind of hope that they didn't, even though we know that they did. We have every sign that the truth is looking us in the face. And then that's where the cognitive dissonance is. But if they love me, would they really do it? And they're talking to me and they're trying to work it out, but they're lying to you. But you start going through all these things in your mind. And the way the narcissist talks is meant to confuse you. So just be aware of it. And narcissists do not like to take responsibility, especially if there's a consequence. If there's not really that many consequences, they, might take accountability. But if it's the hardcore stuff, they definitely won't. They definitely won't. They'll hide little things for no reason. They'll lie to you about, buying fast food restaurant food. They'll lie about things that you're like, I didn't really care. I was just asking, did you stop at McDonald's? Let's say we knew money was tight, but we had enough to buy it. It's like, you didn't have to lie about it, and that's where it gets really hard. Like, you have no control over the connection. You're trying to have a connection with them. Sometimes you're even just trying to ask, like, to see how their day went, and since they know they're breaking boundaries, they put that wall up, and that even makes the connection harder. They don't have the right empathy to make a true connection, but even just the connection of, what'd you do today? They take it as offensive or on the defense, to where they just go into a survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, it's like your body shuts down and takes care of yourself. They don't see the outside world at that time. They're just focused on themselves because they are on the defensive. The things in their brain, the fight or flight, it's like sometimes like a blackout happens, to where they're not even knowing what they're doing. They're missing pieces of their thoughts. So they try to fill in holes just with whatever makes sense, or what they think would make sense. So they don't even know their reality. And when they tell those many lies over and over again to different people, they got to keep track of what lie they told somebody. Their brain is overactive as well, just like our brain has been overactive trying to figure out the answers. Their brain is overactive, and they are just grasping at straws just to survive. Do not feel sorry for them. They are adults. There are things that we have to learn in life to function, whether we like it or not. whether we understand why or not. The narcissist might not understand why, but they can see the destruction, and they just let it go. They might not understand how it hurts us, but they can see the look on our face. They can see our tears. They can see our frustrations, and they don't care. They don't change. Um, it's kind of crazy on how self-absorbed that they can be, and just the way that they talk is so damaging. You know, you would think when they talk about words hurting, you would think about, being called, I don't know, different swear words or fat or ugly or whatever they would call you. This is just speech patterns. Um, can destroy who you are. And I've been aching for years, like physically aching, um, just based on words and fake promises and the games that they put us through instead of being on the up and up. Um, they steal a lot of your life, even when you're not with them, because of recovery. Recovering from the pain takes time. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.